What hour of history is this? The dawn? The first faint stirring of civilization? Or are these the shadows of dusk before the last long night? The dying embers, the silent end.
Over the barren land shall flowers then have possession. Deep shades of ancient days, full of hate and oppression. In the brightness of joy, fade away and are gone.
Which future? The bright or the dark? The future is up to you. Who? Me? Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, you and me, and everyone, everywhere. Because the sum of all our thoughts and actions will decide which future. And see, among all the people who give life and movement to our globe, there are 100 ways of life for which men have died. The time is here to ask instead, how can we live? How can we live together on our congested earth? There is no easy answer. There's no easy way. But in our search, we can turn back in time to our common origin, to the spark of life in the primeval waters. Standing upright, a noble architecture, an intricate design of nerves and sinews, alert, aware, more sensitive than the beasts, whose garden was the whole earth, the simple shelter, the good fruits, the wide horizon. But there was another side of the garden, danger, loneliness, and the advancing terror of cold. From hunger and loneliness, men banded together. From need, men kindled fire. But when the nourishing fields withered, the tribes scattered over the face of the earth. time flowed forth in one swift current, until finally some group paused in some corner of the earth to live and work together in natural isolation, to spin a pattern of life set over the rhythm of nature, rites for birth, rites for death, and rites for the turn of the seasons. A rhythm for work, a rhythm for prayer, and a pattern for beauty and courage. A shape for the shelter, a shape for the temple, and a form for the image of God. So, as the deep current of time flowed through the awakening mind, a picture was formed. Our way is the natural way, as natural as sunlight, as natural as day. But within these groups, there were other forces, other tensions seeking an outlet. Jealousy, anger, guilt. And there was the other tribe across the river, across the hilltop, across the sea, who had different colored skins, ate forbidden food, worshipped other gods, distant, strange, heard only through the distorted ear of rumor. Listen. The other tribe kills the aged. The other tribe has green skins. They have a strange smell. Give them a house and it'll soon be a hovel. No amount of education will ever help them. Our fields are empty this season. Then who's to blame? Throw the god in the river. Who's to blame? The tribe across the river, the people across the railroad tracks. We have many hungry and sick this year. Whose fault is that? The people across the river. They are to blame. They have strange ways. Their ways are unnatural. They are bad. We are natural. They are wrong. We are right. We are right. We are right. We are right. Our way is the right way. Well, here we are today, a long way from Eden. The tribes have multiplied constantly until the whole earth is crowded with many different ways of life, overlapping. And the world is brought to our doorstep. The news is hurried to the brain. Trouble, strikes, hunger, health, murder. Well, what can I do about the world? Am I my brother's keeper? I'm only one man and my actions won't count. Wait. You're not alone. There are people like yourself everywhere, united in a common need to learn to live together in a shrinking world. For in the span of each separate life, everyone grows from a single cell. Sleeps in the dark waters, remembering the primeval past. And and emerges finally to breathe the air of history. Our need to live together, our civilization, our education, have buried in our memory the ancient primal impulses. But they are not dead. Unexposed, uncontrolled, they will control us. These are the hidden roots of prejudice. In time of need, they can be turned against us. Listen. Hungry? Whose fault is it? The man with the other way of life. Cold? Homeless? Whose fault is that? The man who has your job, the other man. Afraid? Angry? Want to blame someone else? Blame the man with the other way of life. Blame anyone who's different. Blame, 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 blame. And so you are tied, hand and foot, heart and mind. Well, what can I do? What can I think? Look into your own mind. What picture of the other man do you find drawn there? Do you see the other man as you imagine him, or as he really is? Do you look for the real man behind the distortion of propagandists? Are you always right? The other man always wrong? Or are the roles interchangeable? How about your own hidden impulses? Do you project them onto the other man, the other race? No man is all bad or all good. Look into yourself. Do you think yourself superior? Perhaps because of the way you dress, or because of your own familiar music. And all our differences, what shall we make of them today and in the future? Shall one way of life be imposed on everyone until we become automatons, a world of robot minds? Or shall we accept our differences and enrich all our lives with the fruits and the knowledge of many histories? Many patterns. Many songs. And many dances. The world is a good place to live in. The right to live in it is every man's. From need, the tribe was born. From necessity, the peoples of our shrinking world must become one people. United across all our differences. The current of time is flowing swiftly into the future. And there are always those hungry for the reins of tyranny who would use our prejudices to mislead us. Between us and a united world lies the danger of war, which could destroy not only man, but the earth itself. No! What you think, what you do, is important. For the sum of all our thoughts and actions will decide which future. Darkness
presented by the National Conference of Christians and Jews. Educating for Brotherhood.
Rumor. Rumors that destroy. Who starts rumors? How do they begin? Well, let's look at one. One summer day in Detroit some years ago, there was a traffic jam on a bridge. It had been a hot day. Tempers were frayed. Then, in the middle of the bridge, there was an argument. Something about a locked bumper. If you had been sitting in the car behind, it might have looked like this to you. Now, suppose from the car back of you, a man called out, "Hey, Bud, what's going on?" What would you answer? Here's what you're seeing. What would you say? What one man did tell another somewhere along the line was, it's an argument between a white man and a Negro, something about the white man's wife. This report moved down the line of cars. Gradually, it took on changes. Somewhere along the line, the rumor had it the Negro was armed with a knife. A little further on, it was said the Negro had attacked the woman. And by the time the rumor reached one residential area, it was said there was a wave of attacks by Negroes. Now, let's go back a minute. If you had been sitting in a car on the other side of the locked bumper, the incident might have looked like this. If you had seen this, what word would you have passed down the line? How would you have described it? Here is what one man said. There's an argument between a white man and a Negro, something about the Negro's baby. And this report traveled down the line, gaining momentum, adding details. At one point, the story ran this way. A white man has thrown a Negro child off the bridge, and there was a fight. A bit further, a new detail entered the story. The police. It was said the police were siding with the white man. By the time the rumor reached a Negro section near the end of the bridge, it told of a reign of terror on the Negro population. Thus, in the heat of a summer day, two different rumors, born of one incident, did their work of confusion and destruction. Rumor. Race riots. 34 dead. Detroit, June 22nd, 1943. Rumor. Do you spread rumors? Just harmless ones, maybe? How can you tell? How can one know the difference between fact and rumor? How can we keep from spreading rumors? How can you stop a rumor once it's started? What can we do in our own communities to keep rumors from developing? We live in a world of tensions, which troublemakers can exploit. Do you help them? What should be our defense against this mystery weapon? What do you think? What should be our defense against rumors? What defense against rumors has been the subject of our discussion? Of course, we haven't solved the problem. We have considered how a rumor can start, feeding on emotions and prejudice. We have seen the difficulty of stopping a rumor once it is on its way. We have seen the tragedy rumors can bring. But no, we haven't solved the problem. So give it further thought, won't you? Because this is one of the problems that challenge our time.
I don't like the looks of this. Why not? It's going to be wonderful. Nah, it'll never work. You can't get along with those people. They're too different. We'll get along. We've got to. The future of civilization depends on brotherhood.
Wait a minute. What about this business of brotherhood?
But we're all different.
Are you? Let's take a look at the facts. Right from the start, they started to spread out. And as they drifted further apart, little differences began to appear. Most of the people of the world kept the same in-between color as their ancestors, and still do. But three groups on the very edges of the world population developed distinct differences in color. These exceptional groups gave rise to our idea of three separate races of mankind.
Well, there are other differences in people besides the skin color.
Yes, you find all sorts of hair, eyes, nose shapes, and sizes. But you find these same differences within each group. It's only color and a few other frills that distinguish our three races: the Caucasian, the Negroid, and the Mongoloid. For example, there is no difference in physical strength.
Well, strength, sure, but what about brains?
American Negro and the brain of the average American white, both of which are smaller than the brain of the average Eskimo. And the largest brain on record was that of an imbecile. So it isn't the size of a brain that counts, it's what it can do. And their tests have shown that our three average men are equal. If you take their skins off, there's no way to tell them apart. The heart, liver, lungs, blood, everything's the same.
Everything's the same. Heart, liver, lungs, blood. No, not blood. Blood's different.
Well, there are 4 different types of blood: A, B, AB, and O.
Patient in room 216 needs a transfusion right away.
I'll give it to him. I'm his brother.
Yes, but he wouldn't be if we'd been more scientific about it. Brother or no brother, what he needs is type A. And the right blood donor for him could belong to any race, since the 4 blood types appear in all races.
Say, we're not really so different at all. Like you say, it's just the frills. Only, wait a minute. I got a question. And,
It wasn't always that way. For instance, at a stage of peoples of the Near East and Africa had flourishing cultures. And the great civilization of northern China had begun to develop. All peoples reaching high levels at different times, and each learning from the experience of the other. But there were certain basic ideas which were common to all branches of the human race. Belief in a supreme being, in the home, and the family. How civilized a person is depends on the surroundings in which he grows up. The differences in the way people behave are not inherited from their ancestors. They come from something called cultural experience or environment. Suppose you could somehow switch 2 newborn infants from entirely different backgrounds. They would not inherit their real parents' cultural experience or ideas or mechanical aptitudes. Those are things you acquire.
got a match, Bud? Ngọt công Nhật màu ninh phó chai. I get it. But now that we're living so close together, we can get used to each other's ways and work together peacefully. All we need is a little real understanding and what I said before, brotherhood.
Right. And we have to put those ideas into practice in certain very specific ways. We have to see to it that there's equal opportunity for everyone from the very beginning. An equal start in life. Equal chance for health and medical care. And a good education, chance for a job.
Out of time, space created the universe, all that is part of it. Upon the earth, God placed man and the beasts of the jungle. And in his wisdom, he created a difference between man and beast. From the beginning, man was given certain natural rights which could not be surrendered or transferred. These rights and the responsibilities which go along with them belong to man, whether he lives in the mountains, or the desert, the jungle, or the Arctic, a big city, or just an average town like this, where in an average house lived an average fellow named Tom Allman. Now, Tom Allman possessed the same human rights as everyone else. He had always been aware of these rights and had valued them. But one day, a strange thing happened. Like many of us, Tom was in a disturbed state of mind. His son in the military service,
Now look what you've done.
domestic tensions, economic problems, and the headlines.
Controls. Where's it all going to end? We've no freedom anymore. Talk about progress. Why, the beasts of the jungle have more freedom than guys like me. I'd be a lot better off if I was a wild animal.
Yeah, and a lot happier, too.
Don't be late for work, dear.
Uh-oh. Out of the way, Flatfoot. A lot of nonsense. Out of my way.
Going up. Car's full, sir.
Yeah, watch me make room.
What does he think he's doing?
He's put it in the jail. I'll lock him up.
Yes, a strange thing happened to Tom Allman. He had forgotten something. They can't do this to me. I've got my rights. You seem to have forgotten that all men have rights, Tom. God-given rights. That's what distinguishes man from the beasts in the jungle. Man possesses rights and responsibilities that go with them. And that has never changed all through history. Just picture yourself as the first man, Tom. You have the right to live and the responsibility to defend that right. The right to liberty without interfering with the liberty of others. The right to equality and the responsibility to respect the brotherhood of man. The right to progress, to better yourself, and the responsibility to maintain your dignity as a human being. The right to worship in your own fashion, and the right to conscience, which is the right to your innermost beliefs. These are some of the human rights, Tom Allman, that are granted you. But some men have always tried to deprive other men of them. So throughout the history of mankind, these rights have had to be restated and confirmed time and time again. They appear in the statement of the Ten Commandments. They are found in the teachings of the Sermon on the Mount. They are inscribed in the Magna Carta, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and in our time in a joint statement of Catholics, Jews, and Protestants. These rights are a hub around which society and government grow. Out of them comes civil rights as a protection against oppression. This protection is established through laws. Governments put these laws into action. In a society where rights are lost, the government takes the form of a totalitarian state, and the individual is swallowed up. The right to life itself is at the mercy of the powerful state. There is no freedom. The state controls jobs, wages, unions, business, property, and thought. There is no equality. As a person, the only thing that matters is your value to the state. True progress is impossible on the totalitarian treadmill. Where the state makes itself all-powerful, people are kept from the worship and knowledge of God. Moral and spiritual values cease to have any importance. Throughout civilization, man is engaged in a constant struggle to maintain his human rights against totalitarianism. Today, that struggle continues throughout the world. You, Tom Allman, are helping keep this a free world when you remember your human rights, when you recognize the freedoms you have and maintain them in your daily living. Your right to life and the right of others to live. When you respect the forces of law and order and indicate your willingness to share in the task of defending our liberties. When you are mindful of your right to worship in your own way. And when you help others, regardless of how they may worship. You remember your own worth as a human being and your responsibility to recognize human dignity in others. When you recognize and respect the right of everyone to equality, regardless of race or color. Yes, when you keep these rights and obligations in mind, Tom Allman, and do your share to help others realize how far man is above the beasts in the jungle, then you preserve freedom in your home and in your community. And when all men recognize their rights and obligations, there will be much hope for human progress and a world of peace.
Horace C. Heimerhoff is a mild-mannered man, pleasant, polite, at peace with the world, and... Oh, what's the matter, Horace?
Oh, look at that.
Oh, a parking ticket. But Horace, the no parking sign.
Signs. Oh, how I hate 'em. No parking. Keep out. No smoking. No left turn. Signs cramp my style. I wish there wasn't a sign in the whole world. Hey, what did I say? I wish there wasn't a sign in the whole world. Oh, what's that? Gosh, I didn't really mean it. But why not? Sure, a world without signs will be swell. Nice doggy. Ow! Gosh, maybe that wasn't such a good idea, a world without signs. Maybe we need signs.
Yes, Horace. That's something your forefathers discovered a long time ago. Horace the pioneer, for example. He used to get lost in the woods, go around in circles trying to find his way out.
Hello! Hello!
Till he was struck by a bright idea. Trails blazed on the trees were some of our earliest signposts. The Horace of horse and buggy days used to have some accidental meetings with another kind of horse. As a result, the first railroad crossing signs appeared. Later on, Horace had still other problems. So he made up a sign to remind himself and others of the curve in the road. As the years went by, there were more and more automobiles. Folks traveled faster and farther, so more and more signs began to appear. It soon became plain that traffic signs and signals had to be standardized. The result? 6 shapes that everyone today should know. Let's see how well the modern-day Horace knows these 6 important shapes. Here's the first one, octagon, usually read with white letters.
That's easy. That's a stop sign.
Correct. The stop sign stands guard over one of the most dangerous spots on our streets and highways, the intersection. Almost 50% of all city accidents, 25% of rural accidents, happen at intersections. Many of these occur because drivers do not see or do not obey warning signs such as the stop sign or the traffic light. So remember, this shape means just one thing. Come to a full stop. Then be sure the way is clear before proceeding.
But what about the next one?
Here it is. The rectangle, white background with black or some other color lettering.
Oh, seems to me that's the speed limit sign.
Yes, this sign does state speed limits. But it also states the law about such other things as parking, turning, and passing.
Say, this sign looks like a bulletin board.
Good way to remember. Think of this shape of sign as a bulletin board that keeps you posted on various traffic laws.
Give me number 3.
Here it is, the diamond, yellow with black letters or symbols.
Let's see. I don't know.
The diamond warns of dangerous or unusual conditions ahead. The shape itself suggests an arrow that points ahead to a curve or curves, a side road, a dip in the pavement, or some other condition.
Gotta remember that.
Here's the next one, the triangle, yellow with black letters. This sign, shaped like a triangle, always means yield the right of way. You'll find the yield sign at many intersections and on cloverleaf approaches to expressways. It means slow down at intersections and stop if necessary. Cross traffic has the right of way.
I get it.
Ready for basic shapes 5 and 6?
Say, I know that round one. You see it at railroad crossings.
Right. The round yellow sign with the X and RR means just one thing, a highway railroad crossing ahead. It's sort of advance warning. Be ready to make a full stop. Then at the crossing, you'll find the crossbuck, white with black lettering.
You know, that sign always reminds me of arms waving.
That's exactly what the crossbuck does. It warns you to be careful, to be sure all tracks are clear before crossing. Sometimes the crossbuck alone is used at a crossing. Other times, in combination with flashing lights, gates, or other types of warning devices. These devices, however, can help prevent highway railroad accidents only if we obey them. It's encouraging that during the past 12 years, the number of grade crossing collisions is down almost 25%. However, too many folks still disobey the signs, drive onto the track, often hit the train.
What do you mean, hit the train?
In 1 out of 4 grade crossing collisions, It's the automobile that runs into the locomotive or other part of the train. Sometimes even knocks it off the track.
I never knew that. Say, can I have another crack at guessing those signs, huh?
All right, here they are again. 1, the octagon.
That means stop.
2, the rectangle.
Let's see. The bulletin board shaped sign states the law.
3, the diamond.
Dangerous or unusual conditions ahead.
4, the triangle.
Let's see. Oh, yes. Yield the right of way.
5 and 6, the round and the crossbuck.
The round one means a highway railroad crossing ahead. And the crossbuck, that also means railroad crossing. Look out for the trains.
Absolutely right, Horace. You have named the 6 basic shapes correctly.
I know them all.
Yes, it's always smart to know and obey traffic signs. Because these are the signs of life.
Hey, they could save my life, these signs. Oh, wait a minute. What signs? Oh, I wish them away. Gee, I wish the signs would... That's better. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dragoon. I huff. I puff. I dare anybody to take my bluff. I make girls faint, strong men fall. I'm the hottest dragon of them all. I burn up roads. I smoke out squares. They turn to jelly at my fearsome stares. All of the dragons are scared stiff when they get a whiff of my wow.
Got something else.
Man, he's the greatest, that dragoon. He makes me swoon. Yeah. Give me a puff of that wonderful stuff. Who's the square over there? That's drag night. A miserable sight. Oh, my, the wretched one won't join the fun. Stop dragging your tail and strike up a light.
Have a drag night, and get in right.
No, thanks. I don't smoke.
He doesn't smoke.
A dragon who doesn't smoke? Must be a joke.
Come on.
Come on. Come on.
Get the hang!
You're one of the gang.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
He don't smoke!
Come on.
He don't smoke!
Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
He don't smoke!
Come on.
Hey, dragoon! He does not smoke!
He does not what?
He does not smoke!
Come on.
Okay, John. Stop putting it on. This ain't no joke. You gotta smoke. I said, this ain't no joke. You gotta smoke.
Go on, you're killing yourself.
Look out.
It's good night for drag night.
Make him sing your tune, Dragoon.
Go get him, Bill.
Yeah, get him. Get him, Bill. Get him. Get him.
You're yellow, fellow. Nicotine has turned you yellow.
Go get him, Fred.
You're passing out from a case of the shakes.
John, take him on.
You can fight. You're out of breath. Your lungs are out. You're through. That's what smoking'll do.
He's real cool. He's quite a guy.
Go get him, goon.
I'll race you anywhere. Square?
Why, oh, why did I ever smoke? I hack. I gasp. I faint. I choke.
It should be plain for you to see that smoking leads to misery. As for them, there's no question about it. Smoking is bad for you. Bad for your lungs, bad for your heart. Next time someone offers you a cigarette, have the strength to say, I don't smoke.
This program is brought to you by your electric company, Blackstone Valley Electric, Eastern Edison, and Newport Electric, subsidiaries of Eastern Utilities.
Zappy wire is dangerous.
If you go on like this, 9 lives will hardly be enough.
Oh, I know. I know. It's making me quite nervous.
Those zaps are going to get you if you don't watch out.
Yes, it's awful. They seem to hit me when I least expect it.
They wouldn't if you knew what to look for.
I've been meaning to read about it, but I've been too busy trying to catch a mouse.
Well, first you have to understand that electricity is invisible, except when it jumps. Electricity is energy, looking for a place to go.
Energy?
Yeah, go power. Zoom, zap, zowie.
Mercy, how awful. Someone could get hurt.
Not if we use it right. There's all kinds of energy. We need energy to make things happen.
To make things happen?
Yeah. And energy is power. The power to do things. To move things. Energy makes things work.
Machines and stuff.
Yeah. We use electricity for energy. We use gasoline for energy. You know, it's a fuel. So is wood. And coal. And oil. And natural gas. They're all energy fuels. Food is our fuel. Where we get our energy for play and all those other things we do. It even takes energy to think.
Look. I can make the fan go round with my own energy.
Wouldn't it be easier to plug it in and let electric energy do the work? Just like it does in all the other appliances and gadgets in our house?
Amazing. How can all that energy hide in such tiny little holes?
It doesn't.
Oh? Then where does it come from?
From a power plant, through wires in the wall. When you plug in something, the energy flows through the wires to the fan motor, feeding it the strength to turn the fan around.
Why doesn't the energy come out these other holes?
It's there, but it doesn't do anything until there is some place for it to go, like, don't get too close. You'll have to learn to be more careful.
I know. I know.
Electric energy is a good traveler. That's why it's such a useful and unusual kind of energy. It travels easily through metal. That's why wires are made of metal. And it travels easily through the ground, or through things that are wet, or anything with a lot of water in it.
You mean like trees and growing things? Or people? Or animals? Animals?
Yes, like you. And like a good traveler, it takes a shortcut, follows an easier path whenever it has a chance.
Then how do they keep it in the wire?
It's only possible because electric energy can't travel through some kinds of things, like glass or rubber or plastic. So we wrap electric wires with rubber or plastic to keep the energy from going where we don't want it to go.
So it can't take a shortcut through the ground or something wet or me.
Right, and that's important. Most of the wires in our house are actually 2 or more wires, each protected with a rubber or plastic covering to keep the energy flowing through the separate wires. If this covering is broken or wears off, you get a...
Oh, dear.
If a wire is broken and 2 open ends are close together, the electric energy may be strong enough to jump to space. Then some of the energy will make heat that can start a fire.
Ooh, I'll throw water on it and put it out.
Don't you dare. Remember, electric energy likes to take a shortcut through water or cats.
Then what do we do?
First, make sure there is no electric energy flowing near the fire. Then put it out. Electrical energy is carried through our town in a system. That's like a tree with the power plant at the base. The power plant sends all its energy through big, powerful wires to places called substations in different neighborhoods.
Those are the places that have signs saying, danger, high voltage. What does that mean?
It means stay away or you might get zapped. All the wires and things around substations can be very dangerous. From substations, powerful wires branch out down streets to our homes and schools and other places. Then smaller wires branch out inside our houses. The system in our house is like a smaller tree. From the main switch box, where it comes in, wires run around through our walls to all the plugs and switches and lights.
How does the switch do that?
When the switch is turned on, it has metal inside that becomes part of the wire path that runs inside the wall to the light. When it's turned off, it breaks the path. This stops the energy because it has no place to go. The wires in our houses are not as big or as powerful as the branch lines outside. And the largest wires, the trunk lines that carry the energy from the power plant to the substations, are so powerful that the wires have to be far apart and kept far enough away from the pole with insulators so that the energy just can't find a path to the pole.
Ooh, what was that?
Some careless or selfish person shot at the insulator with a gun. Now there's a danger that the energy can jump to the pole and find a path to the ground and zap somebody. Hey, want to get zapped?
Just getting the kite.
Well, don't. It's dangerous.
How about that bird? Why doesn't he get zapped?
Because electric energy follows the easiest path. Going through the bird is a detour that doesn't go to the ground or any large thing that attracts energy. But if you're in a tree and get too near the wire, you're offering an easy path to the ground.
Maybe I was just born unlucky.
It would have been worse if you'd been any closer to the wire.
I know. I know. I wish I could just forget about zaps. Pretend they don't even exist.
Oh, no. Do think about them. Think zap every time you start to climb up near the power wires.
You think I should?
Yes. And think zap whenever you're near a substation or see a sign that says danger, high voltage.
All right. I'll try.
And whenever you're in a bath or standing on a wet floor, think zap before you touch a switch or try to plug in anything.
Yes, I'll do it.
And when there's a thunderstorm, think zap before you go in the water or under a tree.
Oh, of course.
And whenever you're around anything electrical that looks damaged or that you don't understand, think zap before you touch it.
Oh, I will. I will.
But the main thing is, be alert, be careful. Don't let curiosity zap the cat. And remember, electrical energy is always looking for a shorter path. Be sure you don't become the path. After all, who wants to be a zap?
beginning, there were no teeth. Then, after a long time, came the first tooth. And right behind, the first 2 teeth. Then came more teeth, all kinds, more, and more. Teeth are good things to have.
Oh, oh, oh!
The problem is, why do they fall out? Throughout history, man has been losing his teeth prematurely. It could happen to anyone. Men of science.
Gravity.
Kings. Lovers. Villain. Patriots. Man lost his teeth for no apparent reason, and there was nothing he could do about it. Until now. Now, dentists know why adults lose their teeth.
Cavities? Sometimes. Cavities are the main problem for children, but adults lose their teeth because of gum disease.
Gum disease?
Well, look. There's a film on your teeth to the gum and beneath that can make any smile look inferior. For this film on your teeth to the gum and beneath is composed of countless bacteria. Bacteria, you see, plus saliva debris makes a substance that couldn't be scarier. In each cranny and crack, they form something called plaque. It's enough to give you hysteria. On your teeth, front and back, that get covered with plaque, your mouth couldn't look much eerier. What you drink or you chew, you should regulate to keep most sugars out of this area.
Hi, bacteria.
Hi, sugar. For this food on your teeth, on the gum and beneath, encourages this bacteria. So, friend, have concern for the foods that you yearn to eat at home or cafeteria. Or you'll really be through with the only teeth you have got in your oral interior.
Is this bad? I mean, this here, plaque?
Is it bad? Well, it's about the worst thing you can get on your teeth.
Oh, why?
Well, here's why. Listen.
We have a depravity to make you a cavity.
Our aim is deformity of greatest enormity.
There is no immunity in any community.
Just call us plaque.
For cheap with impurity, there is no security. We're kept in captivity. With greatest activity. Oh, yeah.
We warn you with gravity.
We make you a cavity.
Just call us plaque. We really thrive and stay alive to multiply. Oral acids are the reason why.
Fanatical.
Implacable. It's dental anarchy. We bubble, toil, and trouble. No tooth will go crack-free.
We have a depravity.
To make you a cavity. There is no timidity. We all dig acidity. We have the capacity for lots of tenacity. Just call us plaque.
Kids with an affinity for plaque in this vicinity lose teeth for eternity. Even those from maternity. It's such a great pity.
It don't look so pretty.
Just call it plaque.
Begging your pardon, we're starting to harden on the outside and in between. When we for tartar get harder and harder, we pack in like a sardine. It's so bizarre that we go down so far on the teeth that may look very clean. After suppers and rich lunches, your teeth should be clean, or we turn to hardening bunches that get down between. Hiding and rubbing, the gum line we're scrubbing, infection is on the scene. We make great issue inflaming your tissue to something it's never been.
Some sore and swollen teeth with the hole in your mouth is now a sepsis.
Diarrhea, gum infection can come with tooth decay. Diarrhea makes teeth loosen up. Too far away.
What can I do to stop this?
Preventive oral hygiene is what you need. I'm going to show you how you can remove plaque before it can cause tooth decay, or gum disease, or loss of teeth. First, you use a disclosing tablet that colors plaque so you can see exactly where it is on your teeth. Then remember these three things. The toothbrush, dental floss, and me.
There's just us three, brush
And floss.
and me. We're here to convey we stop dental decay. There's just us three, brush
And floss.
and me. One thing does unite us.
We fight gingivitis.
There's just us three, brush
And floss.
and me.
If there should be a trace of pyorrhea,
There's just us three, brush
And floss.
and me. We'll each take a whack.
At unhinging plaque.
There's just us three, brush and floss and me. You'll see, there's just us three.
take it away, brush.
I got a special little knack for getting rid of plaque and to make teeth clean as a whistle. With sparkling dentifrice, I'm the plaque's nemesis. Scrub back and forth with every bristle. One thing you can't dismiss, cleaning every small crevice when you bring your brush into play. If on close analysis, plaque is out from each abyss, you'll have cut down on tooth decay. Take it away, Floss.
My, ability is a facility to get between with dexterity but no temerity. To get teeth clean, my tenacity and capacity is to reach each plaque. Move its rigidity with rapidity from every crack. The obscurity of plaque's impurity can be your loss. Plaque mortality with a finality can come through floss. My popularity is the clarity. I can be quaint in tonality and totality. A plaque-free teeth. Take it away, dentist.
Anyone worth his dental degrees will give you these analyses. Search out plaque without delay. It's a major cause of tooth decay. Many foods that lodge and squeeze between your teeth cause gum disease. Be diligent like the CIA and get out plaque left every day. You can do it, ha-ha, with so much ease. There's toothbrush and floss. Use both of these. Brush teeth clean as the Milky Way. Use floss to get last night's parfait. Someone whose worth his dental degrees has just given you his analyses. Make regular visits, call me please. I'll set your teeth and mind at ease.
There's just us three, now you plainly see.
A little prevention is worth some attention.
There's just us three,
Brush
and fluff
and me.
just do it today.
Get rid of decay.
With just us three, brush and floss and me, you'll see, you'll see.
Use your brush and your dental floss every day and see your dentist regularly. That's Preventive oral hygiene. Eat a balanced diet and use a fluoride toothpaste. That's the best way to prevent gum disease and tooth loss.
It took 25,000 years for us to learn this lesson. Don't forget it.
There's just us three, now you plainly see. A little prevention is worth some attention. There's just us three,
brush
and floss
and me.
You'll see, there's just.
Poor Henry. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Same old story. Late again. Too bad, Henry. Mr. Allen waited for you, but he had a meeting to attend at 2, and, well, he just couldn't put it off. Why don't you try tomorrow? Ha, tomorrow. Oh, hang it all. Where does the time go? Eh, Henry? Sure, we know you had this luncheon date, and then after that you... Well, never mind. You can drop by tomorrow. See him tomorrow, eh? Can't, Henry. What about Bledsoe? Well, that was postponed, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. Bledsoe at 9 and Higgins at 11. Now, that ought to work. But how will you fit in McNamara? Ye gods, where will you find the time? Time. Say, you do need a haircut, Henry. So what's 15 minutes, half an hour? You need a haircut, all right. Maybe you ought to go in and sort of get yourself organized. Good for you, Henry. That's better. How about a massage, Henry? Oh, come on, Henry. Do you good. You'll feel like a million. What's the matter, Henry? Oh, another clock, eh, Henry? Don't let it bother you. This place is full of clocks. The barber's grandmother gave him that one. That one over there is for the kids. And that one in the window came with the place. Oh, this boy is all set. But don't let them bother you, Henry. Just relax.
Well, did you hear what he said? I certainly did.
What did he say?
He said, the trouble is, I never seem to have enough time.
Oh, that old complaint.
Just let us try running a little slower to give more time. And what happens? Bingo. Over to the jeweler's for a major operation. Say, did I ever show you my scar from the last one?
Trouble with him is he's not organized.
I should say not.
Not like us. Talk to us about organizing our time, eh? Second hour follows the first, third follows the second. But him, he's rushing to make a 1 o'clock appointment at 1:30, putting off at 3 o'clock until tomorrow. Fine thing. I know where I'm supposed to be at a given hour, and I'm there.
Aren't you supposed to chime now or something?
Good heavens, almost forgot. Stand back, everybody. Poor Henry. You think you're hearing bells, don't you? Say, you do need to relax. That's it. Just try to forget time for a little while, Henry.
You were saying?
I was saying our young friend here isn't organized.
Now, wait a moment, please. I'm his wristwatch. I'm with him all the time. I guess I ought to have something to say.
How would you put up with all those insults about not enough time?
Oh, Henry's not a bad sort, really. Forgets to whine me now and then. But he does have a problem.
A problem?
Several, in fact. You see, well, you might call it the nature of his work. He has so many things to do, so many people to call on. Take yesterday, for instance. An average day. My friend, the bedside alarm clock, will bear me out on this. Woke Henry up promptly at 7, and up Henry got. Showered, shaved, and dressed in a twinkling. Off to the restaurant for breakfast. Ate with his right hand and made notes on his day's calls with his left. Very difficult, too, for a man who's right-handed. Also very difficult because of the nature of the calls themselves. Was the Hennigan Company hotter right now than the Burley Company? Should he put them both off in favor of Sweeney, whom he should have called on the day before? Good heavens, he hadn't seen Sweeney for a month. But not today, because Osgood wants him to help price that new building job. And yet, if he gets tied up with Osgood, who would talk the fittings off a mile of pipe, he'd never get away in time to take Smedley to lunch. And he'd been promising Smedley a lunch now for 2 weeks. Hope Smedley hasn't been waiting. No, sir, it's got to be Osgood. All right, call Smedley once more. But then, what about that trip to the east side to see why those valves don't make up? How should he know why they don't make up? That means a call back to the office to raise old Ned with the order department. Or maybe it's shipping. And all that time, 3 more customers are wondering if they'll ever see Henry again. You see what I mean? So he makes one call, but on his way to see Osgood, he remembers he had promised Pettifoot to drop in around 10 to give him some information on pipe sizes. And here it is, 10:15 if it's a minute. Pettifoot's a nice fella. They're all nice fellas, come to think of it. But they have a lot to do, the same as Henry. So Pettifoot keeps him waiting 20 minutes. Then asks his advice about building a shed for all that pipe he has stored. And before you know it, it's time for lunch. Lunch with whom? Osgood? Smedley? Of course not. Pettifoot. When a customer says, hey, it's lunchtime, you don't grab your hat and run. So in the afternoon, he rushed across town to see why those valves don't make up. And decides to call the office again. Calls the office, but the shipping clerk has had a bad day and can't find the order Henry's talking about, and suggests that sometime tomorrow Henry drop in. Among other things he feels Henry should do. Zip, back to Osgood, who wants to know where was Henry all morning, and does he think that pricing job can wait till the building's finished? Of course not. So Henry gets tied up there until late afternoon. Then calls Smedley to assure him tomorrow's the day for lunch. But Smedley can't make it. He's having lunch with one of Henry's competitors. So with that encouraging bit of information to see him through the rest of the day, Henry decides nuts to it all and sees a movie. Sees a movie? Sure, he sees a movie. He's human, isn't he? He gets tired same as you do. Only in his case, there's nobody around to wind him up again. He has to do his own winding.
You mean it's pretty much like that day after day?
Pretty much. Doesn't see a movie every day, of course. Most days he just sticks at it, pushing along as best he can, hoping that somehow he'll make it to the end of the week.
Well, I never.
Good heavens, that reminds me. Time for some more chimes. Stand back, everybody. I'm all wound up today.
Heard him again, eh, Henry? But don't worry, they're only the chimes down at the corner. There you are. Good as new again. Henry, take your time. Oh, well. Back to the office, get those deliveries and specifications ready for burlap, and zingo, there he goes. Oh, well, guess he'll never learn.
Tough day? Oh, for 2 pins, I'd drop a whole minute.
Oh, shush.
Tell me, how does your boy manage?
Oh, Pete? He used to be exactly like Henry.
Used to be?
Then he worked out a system.
What do you mean?
Well, the first thing Pete discovered was the importance of keeping a schedule.
Oh, Henry keeps a schedule.
Sure, I've seen it. Or, them, rather. Hunks of paper, old envelopes, backs of menus. Trouble with menu schedules is you usually hand them back to the waiter. A lot of good they do him. Nope, I'm talking about a real schedule. The kind you draw up a week in advance and keep with you.
A week in advance?
Exactly. Every weekend, Pete makes up a schedule for the coming week. Now, there's an old one on his desk now. Notice, he figures on one important customer in the morning and one important customer in the afternoon, each day of the week. Then he figures on an average of 2 others, morning and afternoon, as fill-ins. Of course, he doesn't always get those others in, but at least he has 2 big ones each day to concentrate on. When he sees some spare time shaping up, he slips in that call he couldn't make late yesterday or the day before. And when I say call, I mean a personal call, too, not just a phone call, unless he calls to cancel or verify an appointment.
Well, that's all very well, but what about new business?
Nobody knows the importance of new business better than Pete. And that becomes a matter of scheduling, too. Pete figures on making at least 2 new calls each week. He leaves the exact time rather flexible, but just as a starter, he figures Tuesday and Wednesday mornings, right after making the big scheduled call for each morning. If he can't see his man, he tries to find out what time would be best. Then, writes it in. Now, here's something important. After a while, his calls follow a pattern. He plans to see each important customer at least once every 2 weeks. And nothing short of an earthquake will keep him from it. That way, his clients get used to seeing him on a certain day. Even if a customer has a problem, he figures, well, Pete'll be in Tuesday. I'll take it up with him then. Of course, it doesn't work that way all the time, but it works often enough to make it worthwhile.
Okay, make a schedule. Figure 2 important calls a day. Fill in the less important when possible. 2 calls a week on new prospects.
Another thing. Every Monday, Pete plans his lunches for the week. That's when he does use the phone. Lines up enough good customers for 5 coming noon times to make every moment count. Of course, there are cancellations, but Pete always has 1 or 2 reserves to drop in if he has to. But the important thing is the schedule is there. A nice, neat, orderly schedule that brings him up to date with himself in a jiffy. He doesn't just plunk a name down arbitrarily either. Sure, at first, that's the way you have to do it. But after a while, you get to know your client's preference. Jones prefers Tuesday. McGinnis prefers Friday, and so on. But again, when he has to make a switch, there's the old personal timetable to work it out on.
Looks simple, all right. Almost too simple.
It's simple, all right, but not so simple it can't be flexible. That's the big thing. Keep it flexible. But without a plan, you can't be flexible, only confused. Without a schedule, think of the time he spends just worrying or correcting old mistakes. Now, if Jones can't see him or Anderson can't make it for lunch,
Pete doesn't try to keep it in his head or jot it down on a menu for some waiter to ponder over. He notes it on his schedule, then forgets about it until he looks at the schedule again. Now, notice something else, too. Notice these jottings here? That's Briggs's job. Mayfield Apartments. And after this name, the Kenmore Thruway. Or over here, Tubbs, Soil Pipe. Those are little cues to each man's particular interest, or some problem he has. In other words, a good salesman senses what the buyer is interested in, or tries to. He rarely goes in without having something constructive to say. Rarely says, "Anything on the books today?" No nift gnawing around looking for a topic of mutual interest. And while he's making each call, he never worries about his next one. Gives the business at hand all his attention. And just for his own information, on the back of the schedule, he jots down a brief history of each call. Wilson, not ready yet. McKay, thinking about electric weld, and so on. That way his next call on that prospect can be better planned. Am I getting ahead of you?
Not at all. I'm soaking up every word of it.
Good.
What's that last line down there at the bottom?
Oh, a little reminder Pete put there. When you think you're through for the day, make one more call.
No movies or ball games?
Oh, I suppose so, now and then. He doesn't tell me about those. The way I figure it, if things are clicking along smoothly, he doesn't feel so bushed at the end of the day, and doesn't feel he has to take a little time off. Although I must admit he came in late one afternoon smelling to high heaven of popcorn. And you know something? He had the nerve to look me right in the eye and say, "You can't be out selling when you're taking in the circus." Of course, I don't want to sound too Pollyannish. In this business, I understand you got to take the downs with the ups or something. Nothing is ever perfect. But the whole thing is to make a schedule. Whether you change it a dozen times a day or not, with at least 2 important calls a day. Establish a routine of important calls as quickly as possible. Keep the smaller calls more flexible for emergencies. Figure at least 2 new calls a week. Keep the schedule with you all the time so that any change can be made on paper, not in thin air. Accept those sudden changes as part of the deal. In fact, know each man's preference as to time. Know what you're going to talk about so the conversation can get down to brass tacks in a hurry. Jot down a brief history of each call. And let's see.
When you think you're through for the day, make one more call. Uh-oh. Here he comes back again. Forgot something as usual. Nope. That's not it, Henry. But oh boy, I wish you'd take a look at it. Well, what do you know? Say, do you think Henry will ever get onto the schedule idea?
Sure he will. Things usually work themselves out. All it takes in most cases is a little time.
Every product or service we know today once came from someone's ideas. Ideas that help protect our country and our lives. Ideas that produce the results of research and development. Ideas that reduce costs, increase productivity, or improve performance and quality in manufacturing and processing. Ideas that produce all the things we need and want, all the services we use, new ways of doing things, new uses for existing products. And of course, ideas that help us get more fun out of life. Today's world is highly competitive. To compete successfully takes creative thinking, the only kind of thinking that produces sound ideas. American industry needs a continuing flow of ideas
to find new ways of doing things to meet the competition from foreign imports. And here at home, new ideas are equally important. Companies must constantly produce new ideas to successfully compete with each other. And the price of failure often means elimination from the market. Competition is even keener for the individual. The man or woman who gets ahead today, who stands out from the crowd, is the one who thinks creatively, who comes up with sound ideas for doing a more effective job. It once was thought that only a certain few could produce ideas, people like Benjamin Franklin, who produced so many new inventions. A different kind of harmonica, bifocal glasses, the Franklin stove, scores of other things that people needed and wanted. And he invented the lightning rod, too, after proving that lightning is electricity and proving it the hard way. Naturally, most of the attention still goes to relatively few people, outstanding inventors, scientists, writers, painters, and the like. But today, we know that sound, profitable ideas can come from anyone, from people in jobs where creativity is least expected, as well as from those who are paid just to be creative. Every one of us, to some degree, has the ability to generate and produce ideas, whether our job is to solve problems in engineering, research and development, marketing, finance, manufacturing, or any other business function. Each of us can produce ideas that will increase our value to our organizations and ourselves. The only question is, how can we produce more and better ideas? First, let's see what we mean by creativity, the ability to solve problems and ideas. One definition says it is the mental process by which we combine and recombine past experience with modification in such a way that we arrive at new patterns, new configurations, and new arrangements. For example, the engineer first combines and recombines past experience, then modifies and changes the old arrangement until he arrives at a new and better design. But whether the problem is to design a simple gadget or devise another way of doing a better job, the important thing is to produce a sound idea and then develop it. This process of solving problems has certain basic characteristics that are simple and easy to grasp. First, an idea doesn't just happen by itself. It must be generated and developed. Creative thinking is an active process, whether it's a simple thing like a child putting together an arrangement of building blocks, finding the solution to a crossword puzzle, solving a complex problem in chemistry, physics, or mathematics, or working out any of the less exciting problems we all face in our day-to-day jobs. Even though there may be no physical action involved, there is always mental action, plenty of it, going on in solving a problem. So the first characteristic of creativity is that it requires mental action. Second, solving any problem or getting an idea calls for conscious action. When people get together to brainstorm ideas, they don't just sit waiting for ideas to come out of the blue. They're making conscious effort to generate ideas. In attribute listing, another technique, a group of people make a study. First, they make a list of a product's attributes or characteristics, then apply these attributes to something else. Like this light meter. One of its attributes or characteristics is a sensitive indicator that responds to light. In this instance, each member of the group consciously tries to think of other uses for this kind of indicator, to measure sound or electric current or temperature or other applications for the characteristic. The point is that their thinking is conscious and deliberate. A third characteristic of the creative thinking process is that it does not have to produce a new idea. The aerosol spray idea was first developed for insecticides, but later it was adapted to cleansers, to hair preparations, to suntan lotions and other uses. These adaptations didn't involve revolutionary ideas, but they did sell a lot of merchandise. Thus, creative thinking produces answers to such questions as, what are other uses for our present product? How can we adapt similar products to our use? How can we modify our present products for new uses? Can we add to it or subtract from it? Creative thinking can make existing ideas more profitable without trying to find completely new ideas. The final characteristic of solving problems creatively is the fact that the idea usually fills a need. Necessity is the mother of invention, and pure research often discovers something for which there is no immediate use. But even pure research is conducted on the firm conviction that all knowledge is useful and is needed. Even though an idea doesn't fill an immediate need or a want, experience shows that sooner or later a useful application will be found. For example, when the idea of radar was first conceived, many people questioned its usefulness. Today, it is making a priceless contribution both in war and in peace. Thus, creative thinking has 4 basic characteristics that result in sound ideas. Now, let's see just what elements are necessary for creative thinking. Here's a mathematical formula that expresses them in symbols. And here's what these symbols mean. The C, of course, refers to creativity, the process by which we solve problems and produce sound, practical ideas. The I is for native intelligence. Each one of us was born with some intelligence. It's what we do about developing it that counts. T is our individual talents, and bear in mind that we all have some basic talents. E stands for our experience and environment, the things we learn as we go along and the climate in which we learn them. A means attitude that affects our thinking, either our own attitude or that of our organization, attitude that helps or hinders us from creative thinking. The small letter I is imagination, the all-important element that lifts our thinking out of the routine and helps us stand out from the crowd. And finally, the distinctive symbol on the end stands for infinity, because imagination is unlimited. As Professor Albert Einstein once said, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the whole world. While the factors involved in the creative process can be expressed mathematically, there is an actual step-by-step procedure for getting the right answer to any problem. The first step in this procedure is to accumulate all available information, learning what others have done toward solving a problem similar to the one with which we are faced. The next step, known as trial and error, consists of going beyond what others have done and experimenting on your own. This is the stage in which you let your imagination take over and figure things out for yourself. This is the phase when you change, modify, create to get something better. In developing any idea, there comes a period when conscious thinking produces no further help in solving the problem. When you keep going by letting your subconscious take over. At this stage, your brain is digesting all the information and thought you've put into solving the problem. These are the preliminary phases that lead to the most exciting step of all, the idea stage, when everything becomes crystal clear, when your natural creativity takes over and produces the idea that solves the problem. The final step is being sure you have the right answer to the problem, evaluating your idea objectively. This means making sure you have considered all the elements, weighed them objectively, and that you have expressed your thoughts correctly. Now, since there is a step-by-step procedure to solving problems and producing ideas, why don't we produce more and better ones? The reason lies in natural blocks to creativity. Psychologists classify these blocks as perceptual, cultural, and emotional. But regardless of how they're classified, if we recognize them, understand them, and overcome them, we can think clearly and creatively. One of the blocks to problem solving is lack of confidence in our own creative ability. Few of us think of ourselves as idea men. We simply can't picture ourselves in the ivory tower environment from which we believe most ideas emerge. Too much conformity also can block creative thinking. Often we fail to think creatively because we're afraid of rocking the organization boat. We forget we are individuals who must think for ourselves. An especially complicated group of blocks to problem solving consists of what are known as personal neuroses, a whole range of imaginings and fears that keep us from thinking clearly, prevent us from getting ideas and expressing them. But the block that most often prevents us from solving on-the-job problems creatively is simply failure to use our natural abilities. The same abilities to which we give free rein when we're off the job. Even when we get good ideas, too often we fail to express them because we're too concerned with what people think about us or how they'll react to our suggestions. Remember when surveys showed that car buyers wanted only bigger, fancier automobiles? Yet a few creative thinkers disregarded the figures and succeeded in building a large and profitable market for smaller cars. And often we worry too much about reason and logic. Just remember, all the reasons a bee can't fly. Finally, we all too often let our emotions stand in the way of clear thinking. Everyday emotions like fear, anger, pride, or jealousy, as well as built-in preferences, prejudices, and opinions. These, then, are the major blocks to thinking creatively, the barriers to success. When we recognize them, when we understand how they affect us, and when we consciously try to overcome them, we are on the way to creative thinking. Now, what can we do specifically to help solve our day-to-day problems more effectively? One thing is to avoid being mentally rigid, looking at a situation the same narrow way every time. Instead, we must learn to look at problems in different ways, from different points of view. In addition to looking at the problem from every angle, we must be sure we consider all the factors involved, not just concentrate on part of the problem and overlook other parts that may be important. Another way to get the right answer to a problem is to be sure we understand it before we try to solve it. And getting too close to the problem often is even more frustrating. We must figuratively stand back so we can see it objectively. And of course, getting all the facts before jumping to a conclusion is important, no matter what the problem is. Very often, the solution to one problem can provide the answer to many similar problems. Now, here are a few basic suggestions for developing your creative ability in your day-to-day job. First, write down all the ideas you get about your job and about your career, whenever and wherever you get them. Broaden your interests. Read books. Develop new hobbies. And get away from yourself. Meet new people. Get the benefit of their experience and thinking and add it to your storehouse of knowledge. Systematically convert your ideas into concrete suggestions. Even one good idea will win recognition and gain new respect for your ability. And if you are responsible for the performance of others, place your most creative people where they can spark others into producing ideas. Get your entire organization thinking creatively. Now, let's review how we can solve our day-to-day problems more effectively and produce more and better ideas. First, remember that everyone has creative ability. Regardless of the kind of work you do or the degree of your responsibility, you can be more effective in your job. Next, solving any problem is a conscious act. The problem must be thought through. Third, you must put to work all the factors that contribute to creativity: intelligence, talent, experience, environment, attitude, and perseverance. Fourth, recognize the steps you must go through in the creative process: gathering information, experimenting on your own, letting your subconscious work on the problem, getting the idea that will solve the problem, and finally, evaluating your solution objectively. Fifth, recognize and remove such blocks to creative thinking as lack of confidence, too much conformity, personal neuroses, and failure to use your creative ability. Sixth, if you are convinced you're right, don't worry too much about what people think, and don't even be too concerned with reason and logic. Seventh, don't let your emotions get in the way of clear thinking. And finally, to help ensure the right answer to any problem, look at it from different points of view. Consider all parts of the problem. Be sure you understand the problem before you try to solve it. Don't get too close to the problem. Don't jump to conclusions. And consider applying the solution to one problem whenever you are faced with similar problems. Remember, in today's competition, the man who gets ahead is the man who thinks creatively. The only kind of thinking that solves problems effectively and produces more and better ideas.